It was a foggy evening in Auckland when Detective John Harris received a mysterious call. The voice on the other end was shaky and filled with fear. "Help me. They're going to kill me." "Meet me at the docks," the caller said before abruptly hanging up. Harris had been a detective for over 10 years, but this felt different. There was a sense of urgency in the voice that made him act quickly. John grabbed his coat and hat, then rushed out the door. Auckland's harbor was known for its quiet, lonely docks, especially at night. As he approached the location, the heavy mist began to swirl around him, making everything seem eerie and distant. At the docks, the only sound was the soft lapping of water against the boats. Harris looked around but saw no one. He walked further into the darkness, his steps echoing. Just as he reached the end of the dock, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a woman, dressed in a dark coat, with a hood pulled over her head. "Are you Detective Harris?" the woman asked, her voice trembling. "Yes, I am. Who are you?" Harris responded, his hand instinctively reaching for his gun, just in case. The woman stepped forward, revealing a pale face with anxious eyes. "My name is Emma Cartwright. I need your help," she said. "There's a dangerous man after me." Harris studied her carefully. "Why would anyone want to harm you?" "I've been involved in something. Something I shouldn't have," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. "I found out about hidden fortune money that people would kill for." John furrowed his brow. "Where is this fortune? And why would you bring it up to me?" "I don't know exactly where it is," Emma said, looking down at her feet. "But I have a clue, and I believe someone is following me to find it. I need you to help me figure it out before they do." Harris didn't trust her completely, but his instincts told him she wasn't lying. He knew he had to help her. "All right, let's start from the beginning. What is this clue you have?" Emma pulled out a small, old piece of paper from her coat pocket. The paper was worn, the ink faded, but it was still legible. Harris took it from her and read the few lines that were written in small, precise handwriting. "I've seen something like this before," Harris muttered to himself. "This is a map of the city, but with some unusual markings." Emma nodded, her eyes filled with hope. "That's why I need your help, Detective. I think it leads to the fortune." Harris looked at the map closely. There were symbols, strange letters, and a circle drawn around a part of the city, an old mansion on the outskirts of Auckland. The mansion had been abandoned for years, and no one had ever bothered to go there. "This mansion," Harris started. "It could be the key. But you're not the only one after this fortune." Just then, a loud noise interrupted their conversation. Someone was approaching. Emma grabbed Harris's arm. "They're here. We need to leave." Without thinking, Harris pulled her toward the nearby alley, away from the approaching footsteps. As they ran, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a much larger mystery. The two made their way to the mansion the next morning. The sun was hidden behind dark clouds, and the mansion stood like a ghost in the distance. It looked abandoned, but Harris knew better. People hiding valuable things often choose places like this, quiet and forgotten. As they entered the mansion, the door creaked loudly and dust filled the air. The inside was dark, with cobwebs in every corner. Harris led the way, his flashlight scanning the room. "We need to find any sign of this fortune," he said. Emma nodded, but she was clearly nervous. "What if we're too late? What if they've already taken it?" "We won't know until we look," Harris replied. They split up to search different parts of the mansion. Harris searched the study, where old books and furniture were piled up. In a corner, behind a stack of dusty boxes, he found something, a small, hidden door. It was barely visible, covered with old wallpaper. He pushed it open, and it revealed a narrow staircase leading down into the darkness. "Emma, come here," Harris called. She hurried over, her face full of worry. "What did you find?" "A secret passage," Harris said, his voice low. "Let's see where it leads." They descended into the hidden room beneath the mansion. The air was damp, and the walls were lined with old, cracked stone. In the center of the room, there was a large chest. Harris approached it slowly, carefully, knowing that any wrong move could trigger something dangerous. He opened the chest with a creak. Inside, there were stacks of money, gold coins, and jewels, more than anyone could imagine. "This is it," Harris said, his eyes wide with disbelief. "This is the fortune." But as he spoke, a figure stepped out from the shadows, someone they hadn't expected. It was the man Emma had been running from. "You shouldn't have come here," he said with a grin. "Now, it's too late for both of you." Harris didn't hesitate. He quickly reached for his gun, pointing it at the man. "I think it's time you leave." The man hesitated, his eyes darting between the detective and Emma. He realized he had no way out. Slowly, he lowered his weapon and backed away, eventually running out of the mansion. Emma let out a relieved sigh. "Thank you, detective. I don't know what would have happened without you." Harris gave her a serious look. "You've been through a lot, but now the money is safe. No one else will come after you." As they left the mansion, Harris couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. The case was solved, but something told him that in Auckland there would always be another mystery waiting around the corner.